This is a mural I did. You can't see it very well from where we're standing, but I painted it alongside the freeway. It was a mural that was actually kind of about roadkill.
Spencer, as an artist and human being, is kind of intertwined. He's a weird guy. He's, I don't know, one of those like just very prolific, eccentric characters.
Hold on one sec. So yeah, we're here. Watch out for traffic. There's a car coming.
The way that his mind works, constant, like sort of creative ideas.
He doesn't have boundaries like a lot of other artists do. There's just no stopping him.
The more you know him, the more it just kind of makes sense, and like you see creative dude that's just constantly putting stuff out.
So Spencer as a person is just a very kind, very giving person. And as an artist, he's kind of crazy. He's all over the place. He does film, music, and just a little bit of acting. But mostly he does a lot of painting. He's different from a lot of artists. Like maybe a lot of artists can be kind of overthink things, kind of intellectualize things, kind of have a lot of self-doubt about what they're doing, but Spencer's just always going. He's always producing, he's always expressing himself. He can't stop expressing himself. He doesn't really have, it doesn't seem like he has that inner critic that kind of stops a lot of artists. He's just kind of always just going. Any kind of feeling, any kind of frustration, it's always going into art. I feel like I've always known him having art, but I imagine if he didn't have art, then yeah, he'd probably go crazy, or I don't know what he'd do.
There's a spot, like I got all my paint jacked while I was painting this wall. So here's like the tail of it, and then it wraps around the whole building. I painted this one originally when kind of a mutual friend of me and my friends like passed away. So I dedicated the wall to him.
Spencer and I both use our platforms as artists to talk about important issues. Like we both were a part of the Standing Rock protests and being water protectors in North Dakota. And art is a very powerful vessel as far as talking about human rights issues, because it's just a very powerful platform to bring these issues to the forefront. Try to hold humans accountable for their actions. Art has a way of like breaking through boundaries and borders and maybe even like walls within our own minds. Art, it can be inviting to everyone. What I found through protests is that if you're shouting at somebody, they're not going to listen to you. But if you speak to them and you have a conversation, then change can happen. But if you're screaming and if you're shouting, fuck you or whatever, like nobody's gonna listen to you if you're screaming at them. But if you're having a conversation, and art is a very good way to have a conversation because there's so much opportunity to have rich conversation about. And Spencer does that very well with his work.
This is a mural still in progress. Khalif Browder was unlawfully detained in New York City. They kept him in jail for like 3 years, and when he finally got out, he killed himself. So I'm working with Khalif Browder's brother. When I'm finished with this mural, I'm going to send him a picture of it for like a Khalif Browder gala that he's doing in New York. I guess like a full-time artist would be considered kind of an alternative lifestyle, and I just choose to live a little bit of a different path. My name is Spencer Keeton Cunningham. It's hard to describe what I do like real simply, but I go kind of back and forth between like painting and creating films, sculpture, whatever I'm creating, I feel like it's all a part of the same. I'll do large-scale murals. Some people in like the art world will call what I do like street art.
He doesn't like have boundaries like a lot of other artists do. There's no just like one style that defines Spencer. It's like Spencer is constantly creating.
Are there downsides to that, or is there,
I don't think so. Maybe when it comes in regards to like fitting into a structure as far as like what our art guidelines are in the art world, but I don't think that's a negative thing because the art world is bullshit.
Our Western construct of materialism is at this point just completely corrupted and gotten the best of us, because we want so much material gain, we want so much material comfort, we want so much material security that we've gotten to the point that we can't look at another human being and see their humanity. We have to see what you have on. I gotta see what you look like. I gotta see what the color of your skin is. If there were no artists that actually had something to say about society, it'd be a real, even more messed up world.
My home base right now is up in Canada. Right now we're in Portland, Oregon. Portland has been a place to kind of exhibit my art in a public way. Large-scale mural work. It's a part of the environment. It's in people's peripheral vision, and some people like it, some people hate it.
Music and art can change people's mindsets because it's a medium that combines people's thoughts, people's feelings, people's emotions. It connects people in ways that is beyond the human imagination.
You know, like, so me and Spencer have been skating together forever, and, you know, the experiences you get into at an early age, like you're hanging out with a bum on the side of the street, like, you know, when you're in 7th grade, and that's what you're doing for that day. You know, you're talking to that bum while you're skating in this alleyway. And, you know, all those experiences add up over the course of your life to the point where it reflects in everything you do. And, like, skateboarders are just doing weird stuff every day, you know? That are getting hassled, that are having to justify what they're doing every day. I think you see things entirely different from being a lifelong skateboarder. It starts out just looking for skate spots, and then you're looking up at the top of the trees and saying, this tree is different. You're just noticing differences all the time. And I think Spencer is constantly noticing differences and pinpointing that, and that comes out in his art. I think skateboarding opens you up to diversity because you kind of see it all when you're out and about and you're exposed to so much that you kind of appreciate and understand so much. And that makes you kind of like, if you're doing art, you want to express that. You want to express what you're experiencing and what you're frustrated with or what you care about. And Spencer does a really awesome job of just intertwining that almost in a hidden sense. Spencer is wildly enthusiastic. Like, he just gets super excited and just can't stop. You know, if he's gonna paint a mural, he's gonna do it for 48 hours straight without sleep or food. He's just going to keep going until it's done, and he just can't stop.
I think that working with somebody like Spencer, I think it's important not only for, first and foremost, I would say it's important for myself, just because I appreciate artists because they do something that I can't do. So I think that as human beings, like, you know, of course, I represent Black culture because I'm a Black person. I don't really like the term Black, I don't really like the term African American. But for the sake of understanding, that's what it is, right? I think art and music resonates because it's a form of symbolism. We learn through symbolism. We don't learn through language. We don't learn through even necessarily repetition. Like, there's symbolism. When you look at, like, the civil rights movement, you think about the songs that they were singing while they were holding hands. It was symbolic of unity. When you think of even in the, you know, late 70s, early 80s, when hip hop was coming about, you know, you had graffiti artists that were tagging the city that it served as a memorial. Or even it just served as this symbol of this rising underground culture that was taking over things. And I think it's important that we have that symbolism through art. And that kind of, you know, that supersedes race relations and politics and different social constructs that we put together.
Spencer, with my involvement with him, he's just really shown me what it is to be like one of the pure artists. I come across like what I consider a pure artist like very rarely in life, and he's definitely fits those parameters as far as art goes.
I've worked with Spencer probably, I mean, on murals, like probably like 4 or 5. He did one in Seattle where he had, you know, like a Cleveland Indians logo and the Redskins logo, and like the organization and property owners were like worried that they were gonna get like sued or something. But I think if it's like if it's part of one piece and it's like commentary, then yeah, it's okay.
Spencer and myself, we use images that could be metaphors that bring different types of people into the same conversation. That's a big goal of mine, is to not just speak to like-minded people, but to speak to everyone.
I think a good thing, I think that Spencer is trying to do a lot, is bring awareness to different, you know, whether it's kind of different animals going extinct or you know, Native Americans being disrespected and not getting treated fairly. He's kind of, his art's more about seems like it's about bringing awareness.
Just for a community, I think putting art on walls just kind of like adds another cultural element.
Whatever the cause is I'm passionate about, I feel like I want to just kind of make something to spread the word to someone who maybe doesn't know anything about it.
Art is a possible way to have a conversation with more than just like-minded people. If you're just speaking to people you agree with, there's not going to be a greater change within the world.
And you don't have to just like be, you know, preachy about like an issue. You can just kind of bring it up, and I'll use like humor sometimes to kind of welcome like a dialogue to start about something important.
You can really tell that he just wants to be helpful, even when people are making what they call devious art or whatever. They're actually just trying to express an emotion. They're trying to express a feeling.
I just got a random email from X Games, and they told me they wanted me to create the artwork that they were going to use in the park design and the gold medal and things like that. No creative restrictions. They're just like, create your art. And I was like, that's kind of cool. It's like a gallery in like a snowboard park, you know? And I was like, that's pretty cool. And the art like I created for this, it has different species that are like native to Colorado, where the Aspen X Games is being like held. So I wanted to focus on, you know, like eagles, like the bats that are there. There's wolves, there's mice. It's like a puzzle piece, you know? It's like, it's not, the full answer isn't there, but I'm kind of like asking you to like look like, why is that tree like cut in half? It's like there's some type of meaning in there.
With Spencer, he's always gonna do what he feels. With his art, Spencer will always do what he feels. Like sometimes, you know, I think even for this, like they tried to restrict him with different characters that he could put in, but he said, no, I have to tell this story. It has to kind of represent this culture, or you know, make sure he's standing up for Native Americans or standing up against corporate greed. Even if this is a show for a big corporation, like he has to kind of express, kind of put some kind of hidden symbolism in there to kind of have some like kind of golden nuggets about what his message is.
What do you think he'll do with his art?
I don't think you'll ever know what Spencer's gonna do with his art, because he's gonna be in Tasmania, you know, like painting a sewage thing, you know, or like whatever. You know, I've been on road trips with Spencer, and you wake up and you're at 7 in the morning and he's not there. You're like, where'd he go? And he's been up all night long, like in an alleyway painting by himself, you know.
Spencer will kind of just get going and like not be able to stop. It's just like he's just a workhorse. Pure artists just live, eat, drink and breathe it, and he's definitely one of those artists. There's no like other alternative as far as like what you do with yourself. You sweat art, you bleed it.
I haven't slept for about 4 days.
Creativity, expression, and actually getting deep into what the human spirit really is important. True artists are really seeking to touch humanity.
You know, like every child like paints in a sense. I guess I'm like still doing what I was doing when I was 5 years old. Art, I think it's kind of like a social responsibility. You have the chance to like, you know, put something out there and spread the message of like what you feel passionate about. That's the thing with art, is like, it can be anything.
Yeah, I think it's cool, because if that's 4K, right, then we can punch in and get the manual, or if we need to here. Battery? Battery check. Battery's on. Was it working before?
Yeah. Do it. And then this one.
Straight dad mode.
Yep.
All right, I made it all the way up to take 3.
Take 3, you're doing
Nice, that's Hollywood.
Bye.